Hey, look, we got music. It's good music. It came with it. They can't copyright us, right?
Yeah. So anyways,
No. Sorry, I'm done. So we got new stuff.
Yeah, we got new stuff. First off, welcome back.
Thanks.
It's let's address the first misconception that this is my podcast and you're a guest.
Yeah, what the hell?
I never meant for it to be this way, man.
I knew that was a terrible... You know what the worst part about that is I think it mostly comes from the title, and I spit the title out.
Yeah, the title was your
It's
idea,
all my fault.
But anyways, yeah, guys, we're back. We have no idea what episode this is. We're just having a good time. Few points from perfect.
Yeah.
And we have upgraded. And
somewhat.
The irony of this is the conversation we're getting ready to have in this podcast. But we've upgraded some equipment. We're starting off small. We're learning as we go. Hopefully, we're getting better. Got a new soundboard. We have absolutely no idea how to use it.
Yeah, I'm winging it, 100%.
But we got some cool sound effects.
Yeah, I can do the. Yeah, that's the most appropriate one.
But yeah, we're getting this thing figured out. Everybody seems to be enjoying the podcast so far, and the previous podcast and including this one, we're now on all the major streaming services.
Yes, I finally stopped dropping the ball on that one and got that figured out.
So I mean, for a guy like me that didn't really listen to a whole lot of podcasts, I started making podcasts, which was probably not the best idea ever.
Worked for you as usual.
You just go to podcast and search a few points from perfect, and bam, we pull up.
Yeah, it's the good picture from when you guys came out to Pennsylvania.
Yep,
and we were in our cool hats, standing and freezing our butts off.
At that light show. Picture.
That's the picture because it's the only picture I had on my computer of you and I.
That's kind of borderline scary.
The other thing too that you can do with a podcast now is you can put like album art in.
What is that?
So when someone goes on their phone and they want to listen to the best podcast in the world and they can't find it, so they find ours.
You're really selling this thing, Jason. You're doing a good job
I'm
here.
A realist. They click on an episode, right? So maybe like episode 4, I think, was Community, or episode 3 was Lager Wades.
Right.
So you see this picture that's supposed to pertain to the episode, so like you would probably expect to see a picture of Lager Wade or something like that,
right?
But it's that picture because again, it's the only one I had.
Oh my goodness, we'll get the hang of this maybe by episode 100. That should be our new goal.
That's our new goal.
Professional podcasters by episode 100.
Hey, you know what? This speaks volumes though, because we have no idea what we're doing, but we're still doing it. And somehow, some way, people seem to like it.
We're having some success at it. We've in the short history of this podcast, we've had some incredible guests already. We had Watch West Work was awesome. We had Tractor Time with Tim on. We've had Lager Wade on.
Muddy Feet Concrete
Pumping. Officer Hoover. I guess we can consider man behind the scenes a premier guest.
We've had Todd from Trucker Track.
That guy's a mess.
We still have the illustrious Captain Kleeman escaping us.
Yep.
He's probably going to escape us this weekend too, I imagine.
Yep. Yeah, he's out of town this weekend. We'll eventually get him nailed down. But we've also got some opportunities to possibly do some other guys. And if you guys have suggestions about people you'd like to have on the show, be sure to email us or get a comment or whatever. Get a hold of us.
Yeah, I mean, we're still a few points from perfect at yahoo.com for suggestions. Number one suggestion, besides having Todd back again.
Todd's been our most famous guest so far. And Todd has like zero social media following. I shouldn't say zero. He's got some, but...
Yeah, he's got the ones that you shoved over there.
Yeah, you're welcome, Todd.
Yeah.
But
we love you, Todd. We really do.
It don't matter what we're talking about. He's got an opinion about it. I know another guy like that.
Yeah.
Not going to mention names.
No.
But it don't matter what we're talking about. He's got an opinion about it.
Right.
And he's an entertaining guy and a lot of fun. So we definitely enjoy having Todd on. And shout out to Todd and Trucker Track. He's a huge sponsor of the Dirt Perfect channel.
Yeah.
Some of the things we couldn't do without Todd, like this truck behind me and the 120 project, if it wasn't for Todd, I'm not sure those would be possible. So
right.
Definitely want to give props to Todd is not sponsoring this episode, just for the record. But
Yet.
hint, Todd.
That
No,
he
I'm
knows
kidding.
about, yeah. Well, he kind of hinted at potentially sponsoring a Jason Works Live video, and I was like, I don't get any watch. No one watches me. It's not in your best financial interest.
But yeah, huge thing. Todd's a huge supporter of me and my channel, and I just want to point out with Todd real quick is me and Todd's relationship goes back years before I was ever doing YouTube. So This ain't some random Joe Blow guy or Joe Blow Todd or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to push on anybody. This is a guy I've known for a long time.
Right.
And there's a lot more to our relationship than what you guys see on YouTube. And I would never promote somebody that I don't believe is going to stand behind what they do or say on my channel. And Todd's that guy. So
yeah, and I would not to get Todd's head too big. He's probably got to fit out the door of his office later. Our number 2 most requested guest is Let's Dig 18, and we've talked to Chris about it, and whenever we can make
as far as the podcast with Chris goes, it's not necessarily if, it's when.
Yeah.
We're all busy people, including Chris, and getting schedules to line up. We kind of had something set up when we were going to Florida with Ritchie Brothers, and that all kind of fell through.
Right.
But yeah, we'll get Chris lined up. I think Chris is. I don't want to speak for Chris, but I think he's probably I think he's kind of looking forward to sitting down with us and doing it. And it kind of gives you a chance to kind of go in depth and talk about some stuff that's hard to do on your channel. That's one of the reasons why we kind of started this whole deal.
And really, like, who wouldn't want to sit down with us?
I can think of about 10 people off the top of my head.
Fine, who would want to sit down with us? Todd, where you at?
So, anyways, we've rambled on for almost 7 minutes, and we haven't even talked about what's this episode about. Works a lot.
So people on the internet, that's where you get the good information.
That's where all the intelligent.
That's where a guy
are.
goes to find the intelligent folks.
Well, that's where we're at. So be careful.
Yeah, I know. People on the internet seem to be under the impression that you need to spend hours and hours and hours editing a video to put on YouTube, and that you need to have this high-dollar, fancy-dancy equipment.
Do you understand the irony of having all this new equipment and then doing this podcast?
There's $900 in GoPros facing us right
now.
I know.
I feel like I'm being stared at from every direction.
You are. I can zoom in on your face here.
I don't know.
I can look over your shoulder.
I don't know if I like this.
I can look up your nose. Oh, wait, what?
So, yeah, this is, I don't know. Do you want to talk about just maybe hit on like just the thought process of a successful channel and then maybe go into the video and editing, or you just want to go straight to video and editing?
I think we could take the scenic route.
Take the scenic route?
Yeah.
I like the scenic route.
I know you do.
So I just want to hit on a couple things first. And we actually talked about this in depth on another podcast. I think it's Life of a YouTuber, maybe.
I believe that's correct, yeah.
But, everybody's got this crazy idea of what you need to do to be successful on YouTube.
Right.
And honestly, I think a lot of people would agree with this. YouTube is probably one of the most mysterious entities on the internet.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they're so mysterious is because they're constantly changing, which honestly,
they have to be.
Which honestly, I think is a really good thing because they try to keep up with the curve. Whenever they change, new people get promoted and new things happen.
Right.
But it comes back, and this is just my opinion, it comes back to some basics. And the first one is you got to get your thumbnail. You got to have a good thumbnail. You got to get somebody to click on your video.
Right.
Now, there's a lot to that because, to get them to click on it, it's got to be seen. So there's some backdoor stuff between titling and hashtagging and tagging that would help get that thumbnail out there to be seen.
Right.
But once it is seen, it has to be a good thumbnail on top of that to get somebody to actually click on it. It has to be inviting enough they want to actually watch that video.
Right. And I think a good example of this is if you go on YouTube and you search how to tie a tie, I think 15 or 16,000 videos come up.
Right.
Out of the 15,000 videos, I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 of them have over like 5,000 views.
Right.
And they're the ones that have oddly attractive women putting a tie on in their thumbnail.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's,
you
got to have something to makes you stand out from the other ones.
Right. And I'm not saying that's something someone should do, but that's what makes those 3 or 4 videos stand out.
Right. Now, the flip side of that is I know of 3 very successful YouTube channels right off the top of my head, and they put 0 effort into their thumbnails.
I know the same 3, I think.
Zero effort
Yeah.
into their thumbnails.
Yeah.
And this is where the second part of my theory comes into play, and I think that's where these 3 come in at, or at least 2 of them do for sure, is YouTube is out there to make money.
Right.
They don't care about you. They don't care about your stinking video. They don't care about anything else. At the end of the day,
I like to think that they care about my stinking video.
well, you're going to be horribly disappointed.
Well, that's, saying a lot.
So, anyways, where I'm going with this is they do care about you and your video, but what they really care about is how much money they can make off you and your video is a better way to word that.
It makes me feel warm and fuzzy all the same.
So how does YouTube make money? By selling
ad
ads.
space.
So the longer somebody watches your video, the more ads they can sell in your video. So the real key is view duration.
Right.
And view duration, it don't necessarily mean you need a longer video to get more view duration. You just need somebody to stay engaged with that video for a certain amount of time. I think the magic number is 50% or more. If people watch 50% of your video or more, you're probably in YouTube's good graces.
Right, which I was going to say that you should not look at view duration as a minute number or as a percentage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Percentage of video. So if you have a 10-minute video and people are watching 5 minutes of it, that's 50% view duration. That's a pretty good number.
Right.
You know, if you have a 30-minute video and they're watching 15, you're golden.
And YouTube is tracking fast forwarding and stuff too. So it's not like, they watched the 7-minute mark.
They don't give you the skip forward option just for a convenience factor.
Right.
So long story short, it just comes down to you got to have good content and you got to keep them engaged.
Yeah.
With that, I think you can organically grow a channel into something successful.
I would agree. I don't think. Okay, so the stars and the moon and the sun align for you, and everything is working. You're still more than likely not going to be a success overnight.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think, and we can hit on this a little bit. You know, the reason why you start a YouTube channel, I think, comes across on your channel.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. There's people that prove it. There's a lot of people that do it, that you can make a living off producing YouTube content.
Yeah, you can.
And there's people out there that make a really good living at it. But if you start a YouTube channel, let's just say you're a farmer or an excavator or a makeup artist or a photographer or a drone pilot or whatever, if you start a YouTube channel for the sole purpose of making money and making a living, I feel like you're going to be on the struggle bus a little bit, because a lot of people that watch YouTube for entertainment want true, authentic people they can relate to, people they can see in their job fields.
Right. Trustworthy people.
Yeah. I don't know if trustworthy is people, but it's people, your body language and the way you come across relays your intentions.
Yeah, you're right.
And if your intentions are being seen as somebody that's just trying to do all the trickery, you know, clickbait thumbnails and fancy editing and all this stuff to, you know, really outdo the next guy, you can't rely on that. At the end of the day, you got to rely on good content.
So essentially what you're saying is your video needs to be good before you can make it fancy.
Well, it's nice. It's a lot easier to build a good house if you got a good foundation.
Oh, here we go with the house stuff. Now I want to backpedal a little bit here.
My bike only goes forward.
I don't know. Well, well, then you're just going to stop and wait for me to catch up. You had mentioned a farmer, and you mentioned an excavator, and you mentioned some other fields,
a
hairdresser, and a
makeup artist, and a photographer, drone pilot.
Oh
yeah, I got them all.
What do I fall under?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, you're supposed to be the guy that has all the answers.
I ran out of nouns before I got to your title.
Damn it! All right, do you think that's my problem?
Well, I'm kidding. It's posting videos is your problem. You know that.
I'm a comedian. Not by choice.
I was going to say, no. But, you know, you actually bring up a good point, posting videos.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you have to post every day or every other day, but I think you do need to be somewhat regular.
Yeah.
My suggestion was probably a minimum of 3 videos a month.
So you want like a high fiber posting schedule?
Yeah, you know, it's 3 videos a month, but you can't do YouTube for 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, and know whether or not you're going to be successful. I truly believe you need to do YouTube for probably every bit of a year.
And I think that's a minimum.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you need to set a realistic goal for yourself. And you did this too.
Yep,
I know you
absolutely,
did this.
Absolutely.
And I think you meant well with it, but your channel's a little bit of a prodigy for this example because you took off. We don't really know why, you know, but
YouTube's a mystery, my friend.
Yeah. And I'm very happy for you. I mean, that I need to say that, but you had set a goal, I think, of 1,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah. My deal was whenever I started YouTube, it was very simple. Again, I want to stress I was not doing YouTube to make money, but getting to the eligibility of monetization was a good goal.
Yeah, for a year.
For a year. So I allotted myself 12 months to gain 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours.
And how much money did you invest into your YouTube channel?
Probably in the first 6 months I had a YouTube channel, I invested at the most $200.
And what was that spent on?
I think probably the first 3 months I did a YouTube channel, I didn't invest in anything.
Right.
I ended up buying a used GoPro Hero 3. I bought some card readers. I bought some SD cards. I bought some magnets, and I got a subscription to an editing app on my phone that was like $3 a month.
And you had that wicked cool hat.
Oh, yes.
That you bolted a GoPro mount.
I still use it.
Yeah, I know.
I still use it.
I know you do. I can't emphasize enough, you bolted a GoPro mount to a hat.
Hey, man, poor people have poor ways, and I still use it yet today.
And I think it's amazing. It's just hysterical to see. Dude, Mike, you know they sell head mounts for like $5, right? Yeah, whatever. This works. Okay.
And mine's better.
Yeah, it is.
It's way more stylish.
We're not going to get into your love-hate affair with GoPro.
Yeah, me and GoPro.
That's another podcast.
We go round and round and round.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I mean, there is people, I know people who run a very, very successful YouTube channel.
Right.
They have an email address and an iPhone.
Right.
Or an Android, a phone.
Yeah.
That's all they have. I mean, there is no, I don't know, from time to time, and I hear other YouTubers talk about this, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but they talk about how they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on camera gear.
Right.
Hours and hours and hours editing. And they contribute that to them being successul.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I'm straight up calling bullshit.
Well, you don't need to call anybody out. I'll play the part of that because I did that in the beginning. I wouldn't say thousands and thousands. I bought cameras. I bought stuff. I bought editing software for a computer, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I converted you, didn't I?
You did, yeah. And we'll get to that point for sure. I have no problem admitting it. I was actually just talking to some friends yesterday about that. I was trying to help them film something, and I'm like, damn, I wish Mike was here. And they're like, who's Mike and why? And I'm like, you don't understand. This man has figured out how to make a successful YouTube video with like 10 minutes worth of filming and 10 minutes worth of editing. Somehow, out of the 20 minutes invested, he pulls a 45-minute video that's extremely successful.
No, I'm not quite that magical, but
I mean, you've come up with techniques and you've got it down to a science at this point. And I know Brandon from Full Tilt Grading is very grateful for it too. It's definitely helped him out.
Has he figured it out some after talking to me?
Yeah, and he was like in the same boat that I was. You know, he bought a bunch of cameras. I think they had like 6 or 7 GoPros at one point.
Well, I just listened to a podcast with another YouTuber here a while back, and he was going down this road of all this stuff, and it almost aggravated me a little bit because in my mind, what it's doing is discouraging somebody from making a YouTube channel.
Which is a good point, yeah.
And it don't have to be that way. And if you go onto YouTube and you search these guys that are video editors or videographers or whatever that big fancy term is for people that claim to know how to use a camera,
They do know how to use the camera.
Well, I know, but they also take you down that road of all these bells and whistles and high dollar stuff and all this stuff.
Have you ever done color correction on any of your videos?
No, what the hell's that?
I was wondering the same thing.
I mean,
but I keep hearing it, so it must be the cool thing.
I mean, on Instagram, I've used a filter a time or two.
Oh, wait, hold on. Have you ever done color correction on any of your videos?
No. You're having way too much fun with that soundboard.
I know.
But it didn't make me mad, but I felt like it was misleading.
It's upsetting.
And maybe this is misleading to somebody, but I know of several successful YouTubers. If you're going to be kind enough to categorize me as a successful YouTuber, I don't do any of that stuff.
I'm not going to categorize you as successful until you can say successful.
I can't say it, so I'm not even going to try it. English is not my first language.
Gibberish.
But there, so here's one of my goals whenever I film and edit a YouTube video.
Okay.
So if it's a 30-minute video, I want to have it done. I want to have it done editing in 45 minutes. I allow myself 15 minutes per video to edit it, longer than a video.
Okay.
So if it's a 45-minute video, I should be done in an hour.
Because 45 plus 15. Sorry.
Very good. Works a lot. I'm so proud of you. But
sorry.
You're laughing at, you need that little over there. Yeah.
Oh, that's you see, you're the light blue button. That one's all you. Yeah.
But now, I mean, that's a little bit unproportional. Obviously, if I do a 10-minute video, I'm not going to allow myself 15 minutes on that. But most of my videos are between 30 and 45 minutes.
So you saw where I was going with that?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Going to throw your little shorts out there?
Yeah.
You take 16 minutes?
But so let's just say not hypothetically, most of my videos are between 30 and 45 minutes.
Right.
So I rarely spend less than an hour. I rarely spend more than an hour editing a video.
So your channel's fairly successful. We're not going to get into how much it makes or anything like that, but it makes money.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you are investing about an hour's worth of your time on the post end, so after everything's filmed.
Correct.
To prepare this video, does that include writing a description, tags, titling, thumbnails?
No, that's...
So just give me a general number of how long that about takes.
5 minutes.
Okay, so you're investing less than an hour and a half per video
Of my time.
of your time, and you're seeing a return from it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's well worth my time.
Okay, so in a week, 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you may have put in 14 hours of editing. This is editing time. This is not including filming. I'm not going to even really count filming because you don't take any time with that.
No, so I think we can kind of approach it this way a little bit. So in a 2 weeks time period, I will post approximately 7 videos.
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, I'm probably 7-8 hours at the most.
Okay.
Now that begs the question, how do I do it? What's my approach? Well, what's my techniques?
Are we going to get the Dirt Perfect super secret squirrel lesson of how to film videos?
Well, here's the secret. There's no damn secret.
Are you sure?
Oh, I'm positive.
I don't believe you.
So, I know you know me. You've got to know me pretty well.
Yeah.
People who have watched me for a long time have probably got to know me pretty well.
Yeah.
Would you categorize me as a very busy person?
Yes.
So, excuse me, it comes down to time management.
Yes.
There is no possible way I could do YouTube if I was going to spend hours and hours and hours video and editing.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
So if you're averaging 7 videos in 2 weeks, it's say 3 videos a week, and if you spend, say, 6 hours on a video, you're at 18 hours of the week.
Yeah.
That's
done deal.
almost 2 work days.
No, there's not even an option for me. I can't do it. It's a game over. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I started doing this YouTube gig, I quickly had to figure out techniques and methods to greatly shrink that time, because I was under the impression that if I was going to do this right, I was going to spend 5-6 hours editing a video. I was going to spend 2 or 3 hours on the job site to film something.
Right.
And that's kind of the mentality I had the first 3 or 4 videos. And I'm like, oh boy,
Something's got to change.
This ain't going to work. I've got more time right now in my life than I ever had time for. And
Right.
this is not a maintainable pace.
Right.
Period. So, you know, I kind of started critiquing things and doing things. And the very first thing that saves you a tremendous amount of time in editing is how you film.
Right.
That
I'm going to say right to all these because I've learned these lessons.
Well, you need to jump in here and maybe kind of give examples of maybe some other routes you took and how you come back to kind of the way I do it a little bit.
So
I just want to add, I remember in the beginning.
I know, shut up.
No. Not picking on you here, but I want to kind of paint a picture of how our relationship started.
I tried to give you advice on how to do YouTube, and it did not work.
No. That's not where I was going with this.
Oh.
So whenever you and I first met,
Uh-huh.
you'd been doing YouTube for what, 6 months?
About that, yeah.
And you had 500 subscribers?
Give or take, yeah.
Give or take. You were under 1,000.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
And shortly after we met, did you go visit Chris, Let's Dig 18? Could you jump to like 2,500 really quick?
Yes, yeah. I would have had about 700, I think, when I met you, because I jumped from 7 to 700 at Paul Bunyan.
Yeah, okay.
Walking around with Wade.
and then
yeah, I think I jumped to just over 2,000 when we sold the trailer to Chris.
Okay. So within let's just say just for
a couple months.
For fun purposes, let's just say whenever we met you had 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
You've been doing YouTube for 6-8 months.
Yeah.
I was just kind of fresh on the scene. I think whenever we met, you were probably one of my first 100 subscribers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you and Brandon from Elite Earthworks, Junior SOT Metalworks, and Wade were kind of the first YouTube friends I met. And I'm completely new to this. I'm learning fast. And me and you kind of hit it off, and I kind of started asking you about how you did stuff and what your techniques were and what your thoughts were. And I'm taking all this information in and processing it.
Right.
Flip side of that, Brandon had some different thoughts and ideas, and Brandon, he jumped to 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers pretty quick.
Yeah, he had a sizable lead over all of us. I believe. I'm trying to think of the video that Junior had. I hit Mr. 3,000.
Brandon hit 5, and I hit 1,000.
Yes,
that was in March. Yeah. So, anyways, and then of course I'm friends with Wade.
Right.
So and all three of you had different ideas and kind of different ways of doing about it, but all three of you are spending a lot of time on video and editing.
Right.
And I had done enough videos to kind of know what was going on, but I was really green at this, and I was analyzing all that information coming in, and I look at Wade, and I'm thinking, there's no way I can maintain this pace.
Right.
I don't know. I still to this day don't know how he does it. And
you got me.
And not a knock on Wade at all, but I think you see it in some of the quality of his videos. They're a little scattered, and they're not well put together, and they're hard to follow.
But he definitely, I mean, in his defense, he has a lot of good videos too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you can see the videos he spent more time on.
Right. And then, Brandon, Elite Earthworks, Brandon, he kind of had some different thought processes, and, he was all about the camera angles and videoing every minute of the job and a lot of footage. And then you had the high dollar equipment, and I'm going to out edit everybody type mentality. And I'm like, oh man, this ain't going to work for me. I can't do any of those. And not to call you guys useless, but I'm like, thanks for the advice, but nah.
It was good advice. It showed you what not to do.
Yeah, that stuff's not going to fly. And me and you had a lot of conversations about this early, and of course.
Yeah. And I mean, to this day, we still have conversations about YouTube.
Yeah. And in your defense, during these conversations, none of my theories were proven.
Right.
None of my tactics were proven.
At that point.
But I was telling you what I was thinking, and you were discouraging me?
I wouldn't say discouraging you, but I was like, hey, man, that's on you. You know,
Yeah.
I'd never told you not to try something.
No.
I would never tell anybody that, but
And you were never not supportive.
yeah, I just, I saw, I think, let me see. I got a chance to see your life without a camera rolling. And I got a chance to meet you without being in front of its screen, I guess. And I got to see the quality of content that you could potentially offer, and I just wanted to see that through. I wanted to see that actually come together full circle.
Making sure it's presented the best way possible.
Yeah, because you have a lot of stuff going on. It's very interesting. You're very knowledgeable in a lot of things, and I think you had potential to be a really good channel, you know.
Right.
And I would like to say that I was right on that. So, yeah.
Well, the jury's still out. Jury's still out on that. So I guess the point of this whole conversation is, and maybe we're getting a little bit too far off track here, but so fast forward to today, which is 2 years later.
Yep.
I don't know where Brandon's at. 20,000 subscribers.
I don't even know where I'm at, so don't ask.
Yeah, but I mean, you kind of backed away from the YouTube a little bit, so you're at 7,000 and.
Yeah, I'm 7 and change.
Yeah, and man, we're at 70 something.
Yeah, you're at 70 and change. I like to say that I'm 10%. They're perfect. I'm 10% perfect.
But the only way I was able to achieve that was I don't know if it's called blazing my own trail, because I know there's other YouTubers out there that done it. They've figured this out, but I could not do what I've done without finding a way that worked for me and then being super efficient at it.
Right.
And there was the one YouTube channel that comes to mind, I'll mention his name, is Zach Johnson, Millennial Farmer.
Right.
He has a very successful channel. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him. And he don't have a whole lot of frills. He don't have fancy thumbnails.
No.
He don't have super fancy editing. He don't have super long videos. It's just he's very, very, very relatable. He's just a guy at a camera. He's very natural on camera. He walks around. Whenever he's talking to that camera, you feel like he's talking to you.
Yeah.
And his channel's about farming, but most people, I believe, watch the channel because of Zach.
It's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
He's hysterical. I mean, he can come out and say it. He's hysterical.
The way he presents stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know Zach personally, so I'm not going to speak for Zach. But studying his channel and the way he goes about stuff, I'm a firm believer that he's a lot like me, and he spends very, very little time filming.
I would probably agree with that, considering everything he's got going on, too.
Yeah, and very little time filming. Now, I don't believe Zach does his own editing. I think his wife
does it,
his wife actually helps him with that. But that even makes it easier on her, because she don't know what he's filming to start with.
Right.
But he was a guy that I found, that I watched, that I thought, now this, I can maybe start taking some stuff away from the way this is done.
Right.
And maybe build on this. Because it gave me confidence that a guy without, fancy video tricks and all this footage and that it's the stripped down version.
Right.
And so, long story short, it goes back to filming. Whenever I film something on a job, people are absolutely amazed at how little I actually film.
Right.
I can put a 128 gig SD card in my camera, film for a week and a half, have 7 or 8 YouTube videos on it, because I just take that little of footage. Right. If that little red light is flashing, it's going to probably be used. It's going to have the ends clipped on it, and it's going to be useful footage. I'm never going to be hunting through hours and hours of footage trying to find that little minute or two clip in there somewhere that I think's gold.
Well, you're not telling the full truth here.
All right, let's hear it.
If man behind the scenes gets your little red light going.
Yeah, this is true.
How long are you hunting for that clip?
That's the one thing that slows me down a little bit. But my point of all this is one way to save you a huge amount of time in editing is your filming techniques.
Right.
If at all possible, film with one camera.
Yeah, I would agree fully with that, and I like your little technique of making the thumbnail of that clip basically show you what it was about.
Right.
Which I forget exactly how you do that. It's the very beginning of the clip, right?
Yeah. So whenever I show up on a job, most jobs I will film with one camera, and everybody's going to be watching my channel. They're like, "How in the world do you film with one camera?" Whenever I wouldn't say I'm known for camera angles, but I switch camera angles quite a bit.
Yeah, you do.
So whenever I start, whenever you have your video editor, whenever you first start your video, there's a little bitty, the first few seconds of the video is basically the thumbnail for the video, I guess.
Okay.
So I always make it something recognizable. Like if I'm going to film Jerry on the dozer, whenever I turn that camera on, I'm making sure it's pointed at Jerry on the dozer.
Right.
So whenever I get in my video editor, guess what? I see Jerry on a dozer. If this clip's going to be me and man behind the scenes working on this, or we're going to be talking, having a conversation, I'm going to have the camera pointed towards that. And over time, you learn to do things to make sure you can recognize that clip in your editor.
Right.
Whether like if I film something twice, the second time I do it, I always hold two fingers up. Right. So I know that the clip before that's probably junk.
So I'm fairly certain that an acquiring mind is going to want to know what's the most amount of fingers you've ever held up in a clip.
3.
Really?
No, I take that back. I did one video for heavy metal learning, and I almost got to 2 hands because Hoover kept messing me up.
It was always Hoover's fault.
It's Hoover's fault.
Yeah.
But I don't refilm stuff a whole lot.
No.
It's I mean, if I just completely blubber something up, that's
I distinctly remember something that you did film a lot.
Yeah, hooking the trailer up.
Yep.
And whose fault was that? It wasn't my fault.
It was the GoPro.
GoPro's fault.
Hey, you be good to it because it's up there and it's doing good right now.
It's actually this camera over here.
Oh, really? How was the 9?
The 9 was in the junk drawer because that's where it belongs.
Oh, well, the 9 is, for those people watching on YouTube, is what you're seeing from now. It's our eye in the sky.
Yeah.
And then we got an 8 over my shoulder and an 8 over your shoulder.
I'm actually a big fan of the GoPro 8s minus the non-replaceable screen.
Yes, and now that I have a 3D printer, I'm going to do my best to fix that.
Yeah, so, but you're getting us off subject here.
Whatever.
So
it's my job.
But anyways, so if you film with one camera and you make the thumbnail of the video recognizable, whatever your method is.
Right.
And then, so, another technique I use is, let's say I'm hauling 6 loads of dirt into a job.
Okay.
And
I know this one.
I'll let a pretty big secret out the back here. So if I'm hauling 6 loads of dirt into this job, every time I haul a load of dirt into that job, I'll stick the camera somewhere and get a different angle.
Right.
So I got 6 different angles of hauling this load of dirt in there, right?
Yep.
Whenever these people see it on YouTube,
it looks like one.
It'll be one load of dirt with 6 different angles.
That's right.
And to this day, it'll probably change after this podcast, I've never been called on it.
Yeah. Well, now we'll know how many people from your channel actually watch our podcast.
Yeah.
Or listen to our podcast.
20 million views, and nobody's ever. Yeah. I'm sure somebody's noticed it and they haven't commented.
Right.
But I haven't got one comment on that. Same thing with loading a truck with a loader. I'll stick the camera in one place, one load, one. Now, you don't work if the truck's different colors, but
yeah,
you got to have some common sense to this.
I've done that trick before too.
And we did a podcast with the farmer Chris on this. In filming on a job, it's one reason I use the GoPro 8. It's one reason I use the media mod. It's one reason why I have this setup.
Right.
Is I can stick it in my pocket.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Chris could vouch for this, but it does not slow down our workflow at all.
No.
Usually, if you see most of my clips, whenever I'm filming, I'm walking to or from somewhere, or it's a conversation I'd have whether the camera's on or off. It may be a little bit more enjoyable because the camera is on.
Right.
But it rarely ever slows down the workflow.
So I remember those red and bicycle grip sticks there. I remember when we found them.
Yeah.
And I remember going through.
I got to give you credit for that.
I stole them from Welkers. But so I remember distinctly looking for this solution for you because you wanted to find a camera. You're moving off the iPhone. And your number, like most people are like, I wanted to film in such and such, or I wanted to have good audio, or I wanted to do this or whatever. Number one, dirt perfect request. It has to fit in my pocket.
Yep.
If it doesn't fit in my pocket, I don't want it.
And that still stays true today.
Oh, yeah. And I pulled my hair out for a very long time until I finally saw Nick Welker do a clip from like one camera looking at him, and he happened to have his other camera in his hand.
Right.
And that's where I saw that stick with the mount on it and the magnet on the bottom, and that's that camera. So yeah, so if anyone's actually watching this on YouTube still, we have it's a red metal stick with a bicycle grip on it, and there's a 100-pound pull neodymium magnet on the bottom, a ball socket on the top with a 1/4-20 tripod screw, and then a GoPro adapter to a tripod.
Yep.
And it sounds like a lot, but it's very compact for people not looking.
Yeah, it'll give you pretty much any angle between the adjustability on the top and the side. The magnetic is pretty handy. And it's small enough that a lot of times, I've hooked it on trees, I've stuck it in the ground, I've hooked it on road signs. I've never lost one. I've ran over a few.
I've lost one, but in a drawer in my house somewhere.
Yeah,
not actually using
it. But that whole setup goes back to being efficient.
Right. And actually, I have next to me. This is my setup, which the only thing I've changed since that is I've gotten the handle that has the battery built into it.
Right.
And I will say that this does work well.
I haven't went that route because you're easier on stuff than me.
Oh yeah.
Mine's in the water. It's in the mud.
That was been out in a rainstorm a few times.
Yeah. But the whole point of this conversation is you got to have a setup that's sleek, efficient, and works. Not to get too far off subject on this, but the large job we're doing now, this basement job, these people actually found us on YouTube.
Right.
And I produced 3 videos from this job, and the exact words the homeowner said to me, he goes, "When did you even film?" Like he was there. He was there with us the most of the time, and I had 2 40-minute videos come out of that job, and he never even seen us bring the camera out. I mean, that's...
Well, it's because it was in your pocket.
Yeah, and it's, you stick it here, record, 2 minutes, you stick it there, record 2 minutes, you get a highlight here, you talk about this, and I feel like I personally do a very good job of covering the job and not missing anything, doing what I did.
And also not taking a whole bunch of time out of the actual job.
Right. That's, you get the comment every once in a while, well, do you back paying for the time you spent filming? No, because I don't spend any time filming.
Right.
That's the simple answer of it.
Yeah, the GoPro's doing all the work.
Yeah.
you put it somewhere and hit the button. I mean, at the end of the day.
But I cannot stress enough how your filming techniques can affect your editing time.
Backpedal real quick. Back to the handy mount thing or whatever. I haven't put one together in a while. About how much money do you have in this entire setup?
Oh, man, maybe $20.
Right. Because I think if I remember right, the magnet's like $8. The handle's $8. The head, I think, is the expensive part. That's $12 or something. I mean, it's not much money at all.
No. I mean, the whatever GoPro or whatever you can put on top of it's going to be your money. And
and realistically, this whole entire setup is cheaper than almost any GoPro accessory you can buy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's no secret there.
And one question I'm sure we're going to get asked is, which camera would you recommend somebody starting a channel?
Depends.
For me, for somebody doing like what I do, it's the GoPro 7.
Yeah. The only reason I say depends is it's how important is audio going to be?
That is true, but the GoPro 7 for a starter, it still gets you by.
It will, but the 8 will give you the media mod option.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the only thing worth mentioning as far as if you're going to have 2 options and you're going to have one option be a little bit more expensive than the other one.
And if you want to take a big step back in time, you get the GoPro 9.
Yeah. I was going to go with the 5. I had the 5 for a long time.
Anything's better than the 9.
No, the 5 was terrible because it kept corrupting files.
Well, the 9 don't even make files half the time.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the 9 might be worse, actually.
Anyways.
Look at it up there doing it. Well, it's not doing its job. It's not. Because the box down here is doing all the recording. All that's doing is like opening an eye. So
just ignore it's not there before it screws up. So, but the point of this whole conversation is, Jason, is you got to know what your editing habits are.
Right.
And the more you edit, the more you'll learn about how to film.
Right.
But whenever I film, I am very efficient at how I film. I try to keep everything on one camera. I try to keep the clips pretty short, minute, 2 minute clips where I'm clipping ends, not doing a whole lot of doctoring in between. keep that video moving, keep everybody's interest. Whenever I'm editing a video, it's very simple. If I start getting bored watching it, somebody else is going to get bored watching it. We got to do something. We got to end the clip. We got to put something in here. We got to draw on the screen. We got to add emoji. We got to do something to keep somebody, if we see stuff, you look at these, of course, I did study a little bit of the like Discovery Channel history and this stuff. And there'll be a conversation going on in the background, and sometimes they're changing stuff on the screen. And if you watch close enough, what they threw up there don't even have anything to do with what they're talking about. They're just trying to keep your attention.
I was going to say this because I had this conversation with our friends yesterday. I think I touched base briefly on that. But the average attention span right now is about 25 seconds.
There you go.
So, and the way that I describe YouTube now to people who, like, want to start a channel or something, and I feel like every person I've ever talked to that wants to start a YouTube channel starts in the mentality that I was in of, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make the next Godzilla movie and it's going to be freaking great, and at the end of it I'm going to show them gardening in my garden, planting some petunias, great, whatever. I'm going to say, listen, the average attention span is 25 seconds. That gives you 25 seconds, assuming you can make a thumbnail someone's going to click, to make them want to watch till the end, or as close to the end as they can bear. And you need to bear in mind that most of the people are going to watch your video in the bathroom sitting on a toilet.
At least that's what they're going to start at.
Yeah. So,
or on a lunch break.
Right. Yeah, lunch break, waiting in the car for something, Not many people are going to go home at night with the family, sit down on the couch, turn the TV on, and turn on to YouTube and watch your channel. Like,
right.
You need to understand, and you need to get past, you're not making a Hollywood video.
Right.
You're not making a Hollywood movie, I should say. You're making a video that someone needs to be able to relate to.
And that goes back to the previous conversation is I think one reason people are really attracted to YouTube and YouTube videos and content creators is like with me with Zach Johnson, the Millennial Farmer. You're very relatable. People watch me or watch him or watch somebody else, and they're thinking, well, I could do that. It's an attainable goal.
Yeah.
Or you can relate to what they're doing because it's the same thing you did that day. And with YouTube, you can communicate with that guy. You can comment, and I can answer. You know, it's you can almost build a relationship going forward.
And that I mean, we're creeping up on an hour here, but I think we can keep going. Commenting, it's very important as a starting YouTube channel to take the comments seriously. You answer the comments.
It is.
Answer them in a timely fashion. You keep people engaged. If you can get somebody to reply to your reply, you're doing something right.
Right. So we kind of talked about filming a little bit and the filming techniques and basically, filming in a manner to where it helps you editing.
Right.
You want to hit a little bit on editing real quick here before we run out of time?
Yeah, I think so.
So whenever you first started talking to me about editing, you had this big fancy computer. You had this big
still got it.
Program called Adobe Premiere. Was that the name of it?
Yep, still use it.
You were telling me about all the features it had, and
there's a couple.
All the things you could do, and how easy it was to import stuff in and put it on this timeline and all this stuff. And I'll be honest with you, Jason, you were talking a foreign language to me.
Yep, still do that to you.
Yep. So you're I mean, I don't want to make this sound out to be something it's not, but you're pushing me down this route.
Yeah, because that's the route that I use.
Right.
And I'm comfortable with.
And this is the same thing Wade uses.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, I'll be 100% honest with you. I was convinced I wasn't smart enough to use it, and I wasn't even going to try.
And I can completely see where you're coming from on that.
So, here I am, and this is my way of thinking, is I want to do YouTube. But that's not going to work for me because I don't have the time to learn. I'm not for sure I can learn. I don't know if I have the intelligent level to learn. I don't know if I have the patience to learn. So if I got to use Adobe Premiere, I'm probably out. Mm-hmm. So let's do a little research and see what we can find. And I actually fumbled around and I started doing some editing on my phone.
Right.
And the first one I used was an app called GoPro Splice. And
I forgot about that.
And GoPro Splice probably did my first 15 or 20 videos. Mm-hmm. And, I got pretty lucky with this, Jason, when I did GoPro Splice, because back then GoPro Splice was, I'm talking the bare minimums. Like,
yeah.
like you were trimming ends of videos. If you were lucky, you could put a transition in.
Mm-hmm.
They had a handful of music options you could throw in there. And I think they had like 2 or 3 things on the timeline you could put in there. And so I fumbled around with that for a little bit on my phone, and I'm like, I kind of got this. I can, this could do all right. I did 15 or 20 videos, and honestly, I got to the point where, hey, I got the basics down. I'd like a few more options.
Right.
But I'm out of options.
Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of hit my wall here.
Well,
Now,
nowadays, you just see GoPro in the name and run away.
yeah, but I actually have went back to GoPro Splice a few times because there for a while they had a huge music library, so I'd actually put clips into GoPro Splice and put music with it, and then bring it back out into my other editor.
Right.
So basically, I kind of was able to cut my teeth and learn the basics on GoPro Splice, which it's different now than what it was back then, but it was really good because it was the basics. So my suggestions to you is find the most basic phone app you possibly can, because even when I learned on GoPro Splice, now that I know how to use Adobe Premiere, did fall over into that a little bit. So I actually tried a few different ones. I tried iMovie and I tried Filmmaker, and the one I ended up coming across, and it's still the one I use today, I believe it's called KineMaster. Did I get it right?
Actually, a friend of mine is starting a YouTube channel, and I told him about KineMaster, and he started looking up tutorials, and that's not how you say it at all.
How do you say it?
I can't remember. It's like, I think it's KineMaster.
KineMaster?
Yeah. But it'll always be KineMaster to you and I.
Yeah. So, and maybe if we can think about it, we'll throw a link of it in the description if anybody's interested into it. But what I liked about, we're just going to call it KineMaster.
Yeah. Which, to clarify before we go further, there's no L in it. It's KineMaster.
Yep. And it's there is a free version, but it has a watermark on it. And
which is really no big deal.
Yeah.
I mean,
it has a watermark on it, and it has very limited options. I think I pay $3 a month for my subscription to it.
I pay for it yearly, and I think it's even cheaper.
Yeah, it's like $30 or something.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about this is the basics are so simple. I mean, oh my goodness, guys, I cannot explain to you how simple it is to use this. And then what I find really cool about it is once you learn the basics, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it, as far as options and effects and
like the pan, tilt, and everything.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's nothing. The only thing I found that it can't do that Adobe Premiere can do is take a video you accidentally film in slow-mo and speed it up to real speed.
Hero 9.
Thank you, GoPro. So
I want to interject a little bit on that. I have been converted. I saw the light, whatever you want to say. I do agree with you that KineMaster is the way to go.
So I want you to maybe explain how hard a sell you were to get to go to an iPad editing program versus a computer.
I hated it. Still hate it to this day, actually. I use it because it works, but I hate the fact that it works.
Would you agree you can do just a good a quality video in a lot less time?
Yes. Yes. Unless you want to start trying to get into like 4K and stuff, but I think that's beyond the scope of this podcast.
Yeah. But
the one thing I will interject, 2 things. One, I use Adobe Premiere Elements, which is the light version of Premiere, so it doesn't have all of the
and I should probably add in here at some point is I was forced to learn how to use Adobe. I have edited probably 25 or 30 videos on Adobe.
My point is that they have it has its place.
Oh, it has its place.
And for $100 to get the Elements version of Premiere, which if you're listening to this podcast because you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, Adobe Premiere Elements should be the absolute top tier of your list. You should not be looking at anything past that.
Yeah.
With the exception of, I will say, DaVinci Resolve, because I've been forced to learn that because all of this recording program is made by that company, so it goes immediately into that. And I've only played around with it, and I do like it. It's very intuitive. It's maybe something that someone could consider over a Premiere Elements for the top tier, and it's free. That being said, the only thing that I still use Premiere Elements for is splicing these podcasts together.
And spoiler alert, I used Adobe Elements or Premiere to do the first 2 or 3 podcasts I did on myself.
Right.
The last 3 I did, I said, the hell with that. I put them right into KineMaster.
Right, and I haven't had a chance to watch them too much, but the only reason I like...
No complaints yet.
Well, yeah. See, the problem that I have, and the reason I use Premiere on them, is because the way we were doing it before this episode here is we were recording the video from a GoPro on the tripod.
I found a trick on that. I'll have to show you.
Did you? Okay. So we recorded the video of the podcast for YouTube.
That's all you have to do. What? You can explode the timeline the same you can in Adobe Premiere.
Can you really?
And you can take out half second frames.
And
it's literally this simple.
Yeah.
Done.
All I got to do is drag the magnifying glass over, and I can do it too. But
after you spend hours getting it pulled up.
My computer works fine.
Well, we're going to go back to this. We're going to argue about this because you know I'm right.
Listen, you. I like all the files on my computer so I can put them on a backup drive. But anyway, where was I?
I have this effect on people.
Yeah, it's the only thing that I use Premiere Pro or Premiere Elements.
Yeah, and it's not a bad program. It's just not for a beginner.
It's like a damn good program. It's not a YouTube program.
It's a great program. It really is. But
it's
if you're
not a YouTube,
you
program.
do not have to have it to begin to be a successful YouTuber. And if you are going to edit a video for the very first time in your life,
please God, don't do it on Premiere.
If you start there, you will be so frustrated it's ridiculous.
Unless you have a background in this kind of stuff, which again, you're probably not listening to this podcast.
Right. This is not for you. This is for somebody that's thinking about starting a YouTube channel or kind of curious how we go about doing things.
Right.
The other thing I want to point out is it goes back to time management, and I have to be efficient with my time.
Yeah.
I can't take that computer
in your pocket
in the bathroom with me.
Right.
I can't take it to lunch with me.
Did you just admit that you edit most of your videos in the bathroom?
I've done a few from there.
I know you have because you've told me.
I can't take it to work with me and while waiting on a concrete truck edit. So if I, back in the early days, I did everything on my phone. So if I had 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes here and there, I would just edit from my phone and go on. Nowadays, I actually put them on an iPad. I have an iPad just for editing videos, and it don't quite travel with me as much.
To note is an iPad Pro.
Yes.
It's not a regular iPad. It's an iPad Pro.
My first iPad was an iPad.
Try that again.
The first iPad. You know those sound effects. The first iPad. So I went from my iPhone 8.
Yeah.
And then I bought a used iPad off of eBay.
And that worked?
I used that for almost a year.
You did. It had the lightning port on it.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the only reason I'm still not using that is because of storage.
Right. That's what it was. The Pro's bigger.
And I ended up upgrading to the Pro just because of storage, not because the other one wouldn't run my program.
Right. That's right. I knew there was a reason. I just couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah. But, and that's kind of my system now. So basically, I use the GoPro equipment to film. I use my iPad with the KineMaster to edit. And then I do use my desktop to do titles, descriptions, tags, and monetize.
I think it's also worth adding in there that now YouTube even has their own video editor.
I have not used it, so I don't have an opinion on it.
I have used it once. I think getting the Jeep Stuck video.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything was filmed from my phone, and I uploaded it all from my phone, and I edited it on YouTube's app. And it worked. People watched it. They made fun of me like they were supposed to. So, I mean, I can't complain.
Yeah. So, we can hit on a few other topics here, but to kind of wrap this all up in a nutshell is I think the main thing I want to get across with this podcast is you don't have to have thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
No.
You don't have to have hours and hours out of your day.
No.
You don't have to be a videographer or some computer expert.
Nope, still not that.
Because I'm none of those things, and I've had some moderate success on YouTube.
Yeah.
I know of a lot of other guys that have as well. And this may be just a quick little comparison, but going back to Zach Johnson and the Millennial Farmer, and what I'd call a very basic, simple, good YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The flip side of that is the Welkers. They got a much more polished.
They have an editing service, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they have an editing service to do that. That's another route you can go, but I like Nick and Leg Arms. I like those guys a lot. I like Johnson, but I'd rather watch Zach's style video than what I would Welkers.
In the beginning, I was Team Welkers a lot, but I've kind of switched. I find myself watching more of Millennial Farmer.
Right.
And it's nothing against Welkers at all.
No, it's just two different styles. If I want to watch a TV show, I'm going to watch TV.
Right.
If I'm going to watch YouTube, I want to watch a person.
Right. And I like it because I laugh more.
Yeah, and sometimes with Welkers, I feel like I'm watching a TV show, and sometimes with Zach, I feel like I'm watching a guy on a farm.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I think Zach's videos are hysterical.
Yeah, and he's got some running jokes in him too, and it's
he's got that sense of humor that I really
Zach's the guy that I watched on YouTube and planted the confidence in me that I can do this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Is that a stab at Zach, or is that?
No. It's an absolute compliment to him. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a lot of other successful YouTubers out there, and Welkers being one of them. I'm like, man, there ain't no way I'm gonna be able to pull off that editing.
Right.
And Welkers are the opposite of Zach. They spend hours and hours and hours filming.
Yeah. With multiple cameras. You did miss the drone.
Drone.
You didn't cover the drones.
The drones. You want to talk about the drones? Well, let's group this into a quick little group of multiple cameras and multiple camera shots. Mm-hmm. So the one time that my 15 minutes longer than a video don't apply is whenever we're doing something super cool where I think it warrants a second camera.
Right.
That's where your time window goes out. Just goes. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of YouTubers. Captain Kleeman went down this route for a while. He was setting up 2 or 3 cameras for everything. And I'm like, boy, you got more time than I do.
Yep.
Oh, but it makes an awesome video. And if Kleeman was sitting here, I think he would tell you, that didn't last as long as he didn't have the time to deal with it. So, some videos, where you got one chance to get the shot, whether it's destroying a house or falling a tree down or pulling a stuck truck out, you end up with multiple different cameras out there. Rarely is it more than 3 for me.
Right.
And usually you do the big hand clap timestamp so you can sync them all together. And if anybody's familiar with video editing, you got video line 1, video line 2, video line 3. You can line them all up, and you just pick and choose which camera you want to play.
Exactly.
But the drone, guys, drones suck. And this is why.
Completely new dynamic to add.
Yeah, I mean, don't go, especially if you're just starting a channel, don't go rushing out to get a drone because drone footage has no audio. No, and if
some drones do have audio, and
not
it sounds
usable,
like this,
not usable audio. So if you get drone footage, unless you're just this amazing drone pilot, which I am not, you're cutting and clipping a whole lot, trying to find some smooth parts out of the drone footage, and then you have to put music with it. You have to voice it over. You have to have a camera on the ground with audio.
Yep.
And you have to match it up with the drone flying around, which is not as easy as,
no.
You can't do the hand clap thing because the drone didn't hear that. So then you're out there doing a big wave thing or something to where you got a visual mark to line audio up.
Which is very difficult to do.
It is. So drones add a whole new element of time consumption.
They also add a whole new element of a comma in your budget.
Yes. Yeah. A good drone to do YouTube stuff, you're looking to spend what?
$800 to $1,200.
Yeah, I was going to say $700 to $1,200.
Yeah.
But pretty much the same number there. Now they do add a cool element.
Oh yeah.
And I know I've got a drone, and if you guys notice that it probably makes every 20th video.
Yeah.
I'll have a drone shot in it.
I hardly ever fly mine. Well, you know that, but I've got a couple videos that come to mind that I am very glad that I used a drone on them. I think the second video of you doing my side yard.
Mm-hmm.
The entrance scene, I like how that came out.
Right.
But thinking back at a lot of other videos that have had the drone in it, I probably would have been fine without it.
The video would have been just as good without it.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it's not used properly, it almost takes away from it. Like if your flying's horrible,
Yeah.
if you don't have any good music or voiceover or audio to go with it,
Yeah.
it's horrible. You're just better off not doing it. So if you're listening to this and thinking about starting a YouTube channel, put drone right below Adobe Premiere or Adobe Elements on the list, because
I mean, unless you have a YouTube channel based around some kind of thing a drone
Good
is
point,
for,
good point.
fine, whatever. But you're probably not listening to this podcast for that.
yeah.
I think the biggest point that I think you're looking to drive home, and I agree with, if you are listening to this right now on your iPhone or your Android, whatever, you can go out and make a YouTube video. There's nothing stopping you from starting a channel.
You know, my wife has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
She probably has 40 videos up.
Mm-hmm.
She wouldn't even know how to turn on a GoPro. Wouldn't have the first clue how to turn on a GoPro.
I think you should give Miss Jenna a little bit more credit.
No, I'm not, because she won't know how to turn on a GoPro. I promise you. And I'm not knocking her.
Right.
Period. She wouldn't know how to put a battery in one. She wouldn't know how to put an SD card in one. She wouldn't know how to download it to her phone.
That I would probably agree with you.
I mean, I could show her how to push the button and turn it on,
Yeah.
but that don't mean she could never make a video with it. But she's got 40 videos on her channel.
She's doing well.
Yeah.
With an iPhone.
Aaron Boom, man behind the scenes. You know, Kleeman. Remember, I bet you Kleeman's first 15, 20 videos are all done with his phone.
Right.
You know, eventually we graduate to GoPros after we kind of figure it out. But you don't start off at the top. Just kind of dabble your feet into it and figure it out as you go.
Yeah, because it's really frustrating to go out and spend all that money and then have the thing flop.
Right. Right.
And if you have this monetary number hanging over your head,
You feel the pressure.
yeah, you're going to immediately want some kind of a return.
Right.
And you need to understand that that's not how it works.
It's not realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, just to wrap things up here, the whole point of this podcast is don't get discouraged by some of the stuff you see or some of the stuff you hear. I find it to be much simpler than what I was led on to believe that it is.
Yeah.
And the more I do it, the simpler it gets for me.
Yeah.
I mean, my videos, I feel like I continue to ramp up my editing game, but I also find myself continuing to decrease the time I spend editing.
Right. And I would say that everything that you've learned, you've been kind enough to share with me, and I've adapted all of it too. I mean, I didn't know. I never thought of it the way that you're thinking of it in the beginning. You know, and maybe I would have stuck with it a little better.
Now, just you never thought of it the way I thought of it in the beginning. My question is that's because of the research and the way you were led to believe it should work?
Some of it, yeah. I think another part of it is I enjoy playing with different technology.
Right.
So I enjoyed the excuse to go out and get a camera or something like that. And then I kind of learned that I had to separate that hobby from the objective of just making a video.
Right.
Kind of thing. And I would say that the handle thing was a pretty big game changer. Once I started to get into that, and then going to the iPad for editing.
Yeah, because before I had the handle, I just had a GoPro on a magnet, and I was holding the magnet, and the sound noise come through, and I could fit it in my pocket though.
Yeah, well, you can fit that in your pocket.
Yeah,
too.
and the handle. I mean, all of us use it now, and I get questions about it all the time.
I used to have it linked in my video descriptions.
And honestly, we probably need to give the Welkers a little bit of credit on that.
Absolutely.
That was kind of where it come from. We've adapted it a little bit for our needs, but that's where the first idea. And those guys are, I know we gave them a little bit of a hard time for their high quality of editing and the time they spent filming. But
I don't think it's necessarily giving them a hard time. It's just not the nature of this particular episode.
Right. But them guys, and they've got a few videos on it, they're also pretty inventive on their camera gear and making themselves efficient.
Absolutely. They've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
You know?
And they've been doing it for a good while. So
yeah.
But as always, guys, I encourage anybody to start a podcast or a YouTube channel.
Hell, start a podcast too if you want.
And all you got to have is an email address and an iPhone
Or an Android.
And an Android, a phone.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
And you're off to the races.
And it's free.
If there's something else that we missed that you guys would like for us to maybe cover a little more in depth in the future, let us know. But it does not have to be as time consuming or in depth as what I was led on to believe or what you think it may be.
And like I said, if you are listening to this right now, chances are you have everything you need.
Yep.
Just put this down and go out and make a video. Sign up for YouTube and post it.
Speaking of that, I need to get back to work and go make a video.
So we're done?
You got anything else you'd like to add, sir?
Not particularly, no.
I mean, it's
good to be back.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. I hope all of our new equipment works. This is proof that we're still learning about how all this podcast stuff works, and we didn't start off with all the newest and fanciest and latest and greatest stuff.
No, we approached the podcast the Dirt Perfect strategy here. And I'm very happy that we did, I will say.
It's still to be determined whether this one's going to be successful or not. But
I mean, we're sticking to our goal, which I honestly don't quite remember what it was, but it had something to do with a year. And I think we're getting some good traction.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys will join us. Let us know below. And thanks for listening, and we'll catch them on the next one.
Yeah, we have no idea what number it is. So
Until next time.
Till next time.